Every single morning is a fresh opportunity. It's the starting line of your day, and the way you cross that line can either propel you forward with intention or leave you stumbling into chaos. One of the most overlooked yet most powerful tools you have is your morning routine. It's not just about what time you wake up, but about how you wake up. It's about what you do in that first hour, how you direct your thoughts, and what kind of energy you choose to carry with you. Because what you do each morning doesn't just prepare your body, it programs your mind. Think about it. The first 30 to 60 minutes of your day are like setting coordinates into a GPS. If you input the wrong destination, don't be surprised when you end up somewhere you didn't want to go. If your day starts in a rush, reacting to notifications, skipping breakfast, complaining about the weather, or snoozing your alarm 5 times, your brain gets trained to operate in a state of reactivity and disorder. And once your brain starts the day reacting, it often continues that way. You find yourself reacting to emails, reacting to traffic, reacting to people's attitudes. You're always on defense, never in control. Now flip that. Imagine starting your day in a proactive state. You wake up with a clear purpose. You move with calm but deliberate steps. You take a moment to breathe, to reflect, to move your body or stretch. You don't check your phone immediately. You take time to direct your thoughts towards what matters. That difference alone, between waking up reactive and waking up intentional, can completely shift the outcome of your day. The brain thrives on patterns. It loves routines, and the patterns you build first thing in the morning will determine what gets prioritized in your mindset for the rest of the day. If the first thing you focus on is negativity, frustration, or randomness, then your mind will default to that pattern for the next 16 waking hours. On the other hand, if your first actions are centered around clarity, discipline, or gratitude, those same themes will continue to echo throughout your day. It's not magic, it's neurological conditioning. Having a powerful morning routine doesn't mean doing what influencers tell you or copying someone else's schedule. It means creating a ritual that aligns with your goals, your values, and your internal rhythm. For some people, it might be waking up at 5 a.m. and going for a run. For others, it could be 7 a.m. with 10 minutes of deep breathing and writing in a journal. The what isn't as important as the why. The key is that it's intentional. It's designed to remind you that you are not just drifting through life, you're showing up with purpose. When you set a morning routine and stick to it, you build self-trust. You prove to yourself that you can commit, even in small ways, and those small victories matter. Making your bed, drinking a glass of water, planning your top task for the day. Each of these acts signals to your brain that you are in control, that you are steering the wheel, not just being pushed around by external forces. Most people underestimate the power of mornings because the results aren't immediate. You don't feel like your life has changed because you meditated for 5 minutes or read a paragraph from a book. But that's where transformation hides, in the consistency of seemingly insignificant actions. Over time, those actions stack. They build a foundation of mental clarity, focus, and emotional stability. And then one day, you look up and realize your mornings are no longer a scramble. They're a source of strength. Changing your life doesn't always require massive external change. Often, it begins by changing the invisible patterns, the way you think, the way you speak to yourself, the way you spend the first few moments of your day. Your morning is your starting point. If you want to change your day, change how it begins. Do it on purpose, do it with presence, and do it every day until it becomes who you are, because when you own your morning, you don't just change how you feel, you change how you live. In a world that demands our attention from the moment we open our eyes, the greatest gift you can give yourself each morning is stillness. Before the noise, before the tasks, before the scrolling and swiping, there is power in doing nothing, intentionally. That moment of quiet, that sacred pause before you launch into the demands of the day, holds more potential than most people realize. It's where clarity lives. It's where direction is found. And it's where your mind, body, and spirit align before they are pulled in 100 different directions. Starting your day with stillness is not about sitting cross-legged and chanting. It's about creating a window of mental space, a moment where nothing is required of you but presence. It can be as simple as sitting in silence, focusing on your breath, listening to the natural sounds around you, or simply observing your thoughts without judgment. The purpose isn't to empty your mind. It's to notice it, to reconnect with yourself before the world tells you who you need to be. Every morning, your brain is in a vulnerable and receptive state. The first thoughts you allow in are like seeds being planted into soil. Plant anxiety and you'll harvest stress. Plant gratitude or intention and you'll harvest peace and productivity. This is why stillness matters. It gives you the space to choose what kind of mental environment you want to live in that day. It puts you in charge of your emotional weather instead of letting the outside world set the climate. When you begin with clarity, you resist the temptation to operate from a place of reaction. Instead, you begin to respond with purpose. You're not just rushing into the day trying to catch up. You're creating deliberate motion, directed energy. It's the difference between drifting and navigating. Stillness allows you to remember what actually matters to you. It's a reset button for your priorities, your perspective, and your peace of mind. One of the most overlooked aspects of morning clarity is how it affects your decision making. A busy mind makes cloudy choices. But when you begin your day grounded, you make better decisions, not just for yourself, but in how you communicate, how you work, and how you handle challenges. You're not pulled by every impulse or irritation. You act from alignment, not emotion. That's a rare strength in today's world. It's important to understand that clarity doesn't come from trying to think more. It comes from quieting the noise that hides what you already know. You don't need to search for your values, your goals, or your truth every single day. They're already inside you. Stillness simply gives them room to surface. It's a return to center, and from that center, your actions become extensions of your intention, not just reactions to circumstances. If you're not used to stillness, it might feel uncomfortable at first. We've been trained to value motion, noise, and constant engagement. But that's exactly why stillness is so necessary. It breaks the cycle. It teaches your nervous system that you don't have to be in survival mode, that you are allowed to be calm, that productivity doesn't require panic, that clarity doesn't come from speed, but from awareness. You don't need an hour. You don't need the perfect room, the perfect method, or perfect silence. What you need is commitment, to give yourself even just 5 minutes of still, undistracted presence. Maybe it's sitting by the window with your coffee. Maybe it's closing your eyes and breathing deeply before you touch your phone. Maybe it's writing one line in a journal that asks, "What do I need most today?" It doesn't have to be fancy to be powerful. And here's the most important part. You don't wait for clarity, you create it. Not once a month, not just when life gets overwhelming, but every single morning. Clarity is like brushing your teeth. It's daily hygiene for your mind. It's preventative. It keeps you from drifting off course. It keeps you aligned with the person you're becoming. So before you let the world in, return to yourself. Before you speak, listen to your breath, your thoughts, your intention. In that stillness, you will find clarity. And from that clarity, you will find strength. Start each morning there and watch how everything else begins to shift. The way you move your body in the morning isn't just about fitness. It's about energy, discipline, and ownership of your day. Movement is the physical switch that turns your system on. It activates not only your muscles but your mindset. It tells your body that you're ready to engage with the world, not as a passive observer, but as an active participant. When you choose to move your body in the morning, you're not just exercising. You're setting a tone. I'm awake, I'm capable, and I'm in control. Too often, people separate the body from the mind as if what you do physically has nothing to do with how you think or feel. But science and experience both tell us the opposite. Your physical state directly influences your mental state. A sluggish body leads to sluggish thoughts. But when you get your blood flowing, through stretching, walking, deep breathing, or structured exercise, you increase oxygen to your brain, stimulate your nervous system, and elevate your mood. It's like starting your internal engine. And just like a car, you can't drive with a cold engine. You've got to warm it up. But let's be clear, this isn't about going to the gym for an hour or running a marathon every morning. It's about intentional movement. It's about giving your body the message that today is not a day to drift. Today is a day to show up. That might mean 10 minutes of stretching. It might mean 20 push-ups or a brisk walk around the block. What matters is the decision to move, the deliberate act of engaging your physical self as part of your morning identity. Movement also reinforces discipline. Think about how many mornings you don't feel like moving. It's cold, you're tired, your mind is already thinking about emails or chores. But when you override that hesitation and move anyway, you build a mental muscle far more valuable than anything physical, the ability to act without negotiation. You teach yourself to follow through. You teach your body that it serves your purpose, not your excuses, and that habit, done consistently, builds resilience in every other area of your life. There's another layer to movement that goes beyond physical readiness, emotional reset. We carry tension in our bodies from stress, worry, and uncertainty. These emotions don't just live in our minds, they settle in our shoulders, our chest, our posture. Movement releases that. It shakes off the heaviness of yesterday, clears emotional static, and allows you to begin again. It's a kind of therapy that requires no words, just motion, and the more consistently you do it, the more you begin to feel emotionally lighter, mentally sharper, and physically stronger. Morning movement also connects you to your sense of purpose. When you move with intention, it's an act of self-respect. You're saying, my body matters, my health matters, my energy matters, and that mindset spills into everything else. You approach tasks with more vitality. You handle stress with more stability. You speak with more presence because you started your day by putting yourself in motion, not waiting for motivation, but creating it through action. You don't have to enjoy every minute of it. You don't even have to be good at it. What matters is consistency. If you make it part of your identity, I am someone who moves every morning, it stops being a decision and becomes a standard, and that shift in identity is what transforms routines into results. Movement becomes a non-negotiable, just like brushing your teeth. It's simply what you do because it aligns with who you are becoming. Don't underestimate the power of small movements. 5 minutes of intentional motion can outperform hours of scattered effort later. When you start your day strong, standing tall, breathing deeply, moving deliberately, you enter the world differently, you radiate focus, you carry momentum, you become someone who leads with energy rather than reacts with fatigue. Your body is the vessel that carries your ambition, your discipline, your vision, and how you treat it first thing in the morning reflects how seriously you take the rest of your day. So move, not for perfection, not for performance, but for power. Move because you can. Move because you said you would. Move because the life you want requires a body and mind that are ready to rise. And every morning, when you move with purpose, you take another step, not just through space, but toward your best self. The quality of your thoughts shapes the quality of your life. What you feed your mind, especially in the first hour of your day, sets the mental environment for everything that follows. Just like your body needs nutrition to function at its best, Your mind requires intentional input to stay focused, inspired, and aligned with your values. If you begin the day consuming random, mindless content, your focus becomes scattered. But if you choose to feed your mind with purpose, you set a clear tone. This day matters, and so does the person I'm becoming. We live in an age of information overload. The moment you unlock your phone or turn on a screen, you're exposed to a flood of headlines, opinions, noise, and distraction. That kind of input isn't harmless. It programs your emotional state. It tells your brain what to prioritize, even if it's irrelevant or anxiety-inducing. That's why feeding your mind with purpose is not a luxury, it's a necessity. You are the gatekeeper of your mind, and mornings are the most critical time to guard that gate. When you wake up, your brain is in a highly impressionable state. You're transitioning from rest to activity, from internal awareness to external engagement. That transition matters. If the first thing you consume is negativity, complaints, gossip, pointless news, or chaotic social media, you're inviting that tone into your mental framework. But when you choose to start your day with positive, constructive, educational content, you guide your thoughts toward clarity, intention, and strength. Feeding your mind with purpose can take many forms. You might read a page from a book that challenges your thinking or aligns with your goals. You might listen to a podcast or motivational message that reinforces discipline, growth, or resilience. You might write in a journal, focusing on gratitude, vision, or lessons learned. The format is flexible. The principle is fixed. Begin your day by focusing your attention on ideas that elevate your thinking and support your long-term direction. This daily practice builds mental resilience. It trains your brain to focus on what you can control rather than what's going wrong. It reminds you of your goals, your values, and your potential. It keeps your inner world strong, even when the outside world feels uncertain. Purposeful mental input acts as a shield. It keeps you grounded when distractions try to pull you off course. This isn't about escaping reality or pretending that problems don't exist. It's about choosing what energy you bring to those problems. Feeding your mind with purpose doesn't mean ignoring difficulty. It means building the mindset to face it powerfully. You're not filling your head with fluff. You're sharpening your thinking. You're choosing the thoughts that shape your actions and ultimately your identity. Think of your morning mind like a garden. If you leave it unattended, weeds of negativity and distraction grow on their own. But if you plant the right seeds, ideas, affirmations, lessons, intentions, those grow too. The difference lies in whether you choose to be deliberate. You can't always control what happens to you during the day, but you can absolutely control how you prepare for it. And that preparation begins with what you feed your mind. One of the greatest benefits of this habit is that it builds momentum. Just a few minutes of learning, reflecting, or aligning your thoughts can unlock focus and inspiration for the rest of the day. And when you do it consistently, it compounds. You begin to notice patterns. You become more self-aware. You begin to filter out distractions more easily because you've trained your mind to seek value, not noise. You no longer feel like life is happening to you. You realize it's happening through you. Eventually, feeding your mind with purpose stops being a routine and starts becoming an identity. You no longer ask, should I read, learn, or reflect this morning? You just do it, because that's who you are. You're someone who invests in yourself before the world gets a chance to pull you in every direction. That's the power of purpose. It transforms a simple act, reading a few words, listening to a few thoughts, into a foundational practice for living with strength and clarity. So when you wake up tomorrow, don't just wake up your body. Wake up your mind. Choose what enters. Choose what stays. Fill it with what builds, what stretches, what inspires, because your mind is your greatest tool. And when you feed it with purpose, you don't just change your morning. You change your life. Every day offers a new set of hours, choices, and possibilities. But without direction, Even the most promising day can dissolve into distraction. That's why setting a clear intention or priority in the morning is so powerful. It doesn't just help you stay productive, it gives your day a sense of purpose. Instead of being pulled in 100 directions, you define one that truly matters. This simple shift in mindset can turn an ordinary day into one of progress and meaning. When you don't start with a clear intention, your focus is at the mercy of your environment. You're more likely to react to notifications, other people's demands, and whatever happens to show up in front of you. You become a responder, not a creator. But when you set a clear priority at the start, you train your mind to concentrate. You filter out noise. You're not just busy, you're effective, and that's what separates motion from achievement. Setting a morning intention doesn't have to be complicated. It could be a sentence, a word, or a goal. Maybe your intention is to stay calm during stressful situations. Maybe it's to complete one important task. Maybe it's to listen more and speak with purpose. The key is clarity. You're not trying to conquer the entire day in one breath. You're giving yourself a focus point that aligns with who you want to be and what you want to accomplish. One of the biggest myths about productivity is that it's all about doing more. But often, real progress means doing less with greater focus. When you choose one top priority, one thing that, if completed, would make the day feel successful, you reduce overwhelm and increase momentum. That kind of clarity leads to confidence. You're no longer measuring your worth by how long your to-do list is, but by whether you followed through on what really matters. This habit also sharpens decision-making throughout the day. When distractions come up, and they always will, you have a benchmark to weigh them against. Does this support my intention? Does this get me closer to the priority I set? If not, it can wait. That kind of internal filter protects your energy. It keeps your attention from being scattered across things that feel urgent, but aren't actually important. And in a world full of noise, focus is a superpower. Setting an intention is not about perfection. It's about alignment. Some days you'll hit your target. Other days you'll fall short. What matters is the habit of checking in with yourself before the world checks in with you. It's the practice of asking, what do I want to create today? How do I want to show up? These questions invite clarity, and clarity leads to consistent, meaningful action. This practice also helps you reconnect with long-term goals. When you set a daily intention that supports a larger vision, you begin to see how even small actions contribute to your future. Your morning focus becomes a building block, not a random action, but a deliberate step. And when those steps stack, day after day, transformation becomes inevitable. The life you want isn't created in big leaps. It's built in small, intentional choices made consistently over time. Don't underestimate the power of one clear thought in the morning. It might be something like, today I lead with courage, or my focus is completing the project I've delayed, or I will not rush through the day. I will move with presence. These short declarations become your compass. They don't guarantee a perfect day, but they make it purposeful. And that purpose keeps you grounded when things get hectic. To get the most from this practice, write it down, speak it aloud, keep it visible. Let your intention be more than a passing thought. Turn it into a decision, a commitment, a lens through which you see the rest of your actions. Over time, you'll notice a shift. You'll stop drifting through your day and start directing it. You'll stop reacting and start leading. Because the truth is, a clear morning intention doesn't just change how your day feels. It changes how your life unfolds. When you take time to define what matters most before the day takes hold of you, you reclaim your power. You step into each morning not just with action, but with direction, and that's the kind of mindset that creates real, lasting change. The secret to real transformation isn't found in intensity, it's found in consistency. The biggest breakthroughs in life rarely come from one massive effort. They come from showing up day after day, doing the simple things that others overlook. That's why your morning practice, whether it's movement, silence, intention, or reflection, only becomes powerful when it becomes regular. Not perfect, not always exciting, but steady, predictable, unshakable. That's what creates real change. One of the greatest lies we're told is that life changes in big moments. In truth, it changes in small decisions, made over and over again. It's easy to get fired up for a few days. It's easy to start a new routine when you're feeling motivated. But motivation fades. Emotions fluctuate. Life gets noisy. The people who grow, improve, and achieve meaningful progress are not the ones who wait for perfect conditions. They're the ones who learn to keep going even when they don't feel like it. Consistency isn't about being flawless. It's about showing up when it's inconvenient. It's about honoring the commitment you made to yourself even when no one's watching. Especially when no one's watching. That's when real character is built. Not in the moments when it's easy to act, but when every part of you wants to quit, and you choose to continue anyway, because you know that one day of following through matters. One small win matters. It's not the scale of the action. It's the habit of action that counts. Think of any area of growth, physical, mental, emotional, professional. It never happens from a one-time effort. You don't get strong from one workout. You don't become focused from one day of journaling. You don't become disciplined from a single decision. Growth happens when you compound effort, when you build rhythm, when what once felt like effort becomes identity. And that identity is shaped not by what you do once in a while, but by what you do daily. There will be days when you don't feel like doing your morning practice. You'll feel tired, distracted, or uninspired. That's normal. That's not failure, it's friction. And friction is part of any worthwhile path. The key is to not let one off day turn into two. One missed morning doesn't define you, but the decision to return the next day does. Consistency is about getting back on track quickly, without shame or excuses. It's about making your baseline stronger than your setbacks. This mindset also removes the pressure to be perfect. When you embrace consistency over perfection, you allow room for grace. You stop expecting every day to feel powerful or every practice to be productive. Some mornings will feel dull, some will feel rushed, others will feel incredibly aligned, but it's the act of showing up that creates the shift, not the feeling. And when you repeat that act enough times, something powerful happens. Your behavior becomes automatic. Your morning routine stops being a task and starts becoming who you are. Imagine how different your life would feel if you were the kind of person who always started their day with intention. Not occasionally, not only when life was calm, but always, no matter what. That kind of consistency builds trust, first with yourself, then with your results. You stop wondering if you can follow through, because you've proven to yourself that you can. That self-trust becomes confidence, and confidence built honestly is unstoppable. Don't wait for perfect mornings. Don't wait for inspiration to strike. Build a system you can return to day after day. Keep it simple, make it sustainable. Some days it might be 30 minutes, other days 5 minutes. But never let a day pass where you don't check in with yourself, move your body, or set your tone for the day. These micro-habits, done consistently, stack into something massive over time. The difference between someone who changes and someone who stays stuck isn't found in talent or knowledge. It's found in what they're willing to repeat. Repetition is power. Consistency is credibility. And when you commit to showing up, especially in the mornings, you give yourself a daily chance to become better, stronger, and more focused than you were yesterday. Do it every day, not for applause, not for perfection, but because the person you're becoming is worth the discipline, because your future is built one morning at a time.